My name's Shannon. I study animation. I'm third year at UWE. And play loads of games, read loads of comics, nerdy. And I'm a pansexual, but I don't like sex. It's not that I don't want to, it's just that I can't. I've had problems in relationships because of it. Always made me feel like there was something wrong with me. I haven't met anybody quite like me. Everyone kind of enjoys sex, so I'm a bit of a needle in the haystack. I'd like to meet someone, but hasn't happened. Today, I've arranged to meet up 3 asexuals at a pub, hopefully to understand myself a little bit better. I'm excited to meet people, just to see how they live their life like this, like whether they've ever enjoyed sex at all, like questions that I've always asked myself that I've never been able to answer. When I got there, Steve and Tom were already there. I brought them some cakes because apparently cakes are a symbol associated to asexuals.
I'm Steve, I'm 32. It's coming up to 2 years since I've actually been out as asexual and identifying as asexual, which was one of the biggest things for me. It was a huge thing where my confidence levels just went straight through the roof.
I'm Tom and engaged to Steve, and I came out as asexual 3 years ago. Prior to that, about 18 months before that, I came out as gay, and it was kind of like a sort of flow chart of working out who I was, because I realised I wasn't straight, didn't like girls, so I must be gay. Then realised I didn't really like guys sexually, so I had to try and work out who I was from there, and then discovered asexuality online, and 3 years ago went to my first asexual meet, and then met Steve online. The rest is history.
So we do a podcast that's every Sunday, broadcast live on YouTube at 7:30. We do it there's 3 of us. There's myself, there's Tom, there's also Robin, who does all the wonderful technical stuff and co-hosts with us as well at the same time. He's based in Yeovil and we're based in Bristol.
But I was asked by a BBC radio interviewer if I masturbated, and if I did, what it was to. So that was quite interesting.
It seems like it's quite a hot issue in the media at the moment to cover something that they haven't really covered before. And maybe because of LGBT issues are starting to be much more accepted, stuff like alternative sexualities or trans issues and asexuality is the next thing that they want to kind of cover in more detail. Sometimes they're looking at it from the point of view of the sex as opposed to the love and the relationship, which is why sometimes you feel a little bit confused by me and Steve being engaged, because a lot of the time they think asexuals just don't have sex, but obviously you can still have relationships, still be romantic.
I'm Sue. So I'm asexual. I discovered asexuality about 2 years ago. So it was after I broke up with my last boyfriend, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Sophie, about my aversion, if you like, to sex, which seems to always be the factor that breaks down my relationships. And she sort of said to me, "Sue, have you ever thought you might just be asexual?" I had a look online, did a bit of Googling, and I found Avon, read all the sort of frequently asked questions bits, and I was just like, yeah, okay, that's 100% me.
So you've not been to a Bristol meet, or have you been to any meets?
I haven't been to any, no. It's quite one of those things that you put off from doing, because you always try, like, well, I don't know whether it was the same at first, but it's like, there's nothing, like, I'm not normal, so I don't need to go to any meetups. Yeah.
So it's really funny because when I joined Avon, I genuinely thought I'd be the only person maybe in the UK. I went to my first meet 2013, and the guy who organises it in Bristol, called Dave, I think he's been doing it about 4 or 5 years before that as well, and they get regularly run in Bristol and the southwest. Loads of new ones come out here and there, and not only a national thing, but they're all over the world as well. So you get them in America, you get them in Europe, you get them in Scandinavia. It's amazing because you meet people who you would never otherwise meet, really, because they're brought together by orientation, but there's no other necessarily obvious things that would be linking them together. So you meet people of different backgrounds, different ages.
What it is something fantastic and really relaxed and supportive, and it's essentially just you go out and meet a group of friends, and what they've all got in common is the fact that they're all of the same, essentially, identity.
It seems like one of those efforts, like taking out the bins. It's like, oh, do you know, it gets sexy. It's like, do I have to do it right now? I'm not like,
I like that comparison.
Like,
when you ask me to take the bins out, I go, oh,
it's
sex.
a necessary evil that
Yeah.
you have to put up with. But it's not necessary.
I kind of want to enjoy it though. Like, there's that thing.
Is that what, for the other person? So
Well,
maybe...
I don't know, for me, maybe, I don't know, because I do feel like there's something wrong with me, like, oh, it's something wrong with my body, something medical.
I told my sister at the weekend. Come on.
Yeah, high five. Fantastic.
I've been putting that off for years.
Yes.
So actually be open about it on Facebook, which I'm really chuffed about. Like last Ace Visibility Week, I really wanted to share some of the stuff that was on Facebook. I saw you guys sharing stuff, and I was just too scared because I hadn't talked to my sister about it yet. A lot of the people that I've sort of tried to come out to have said, "Oh, are you sure you're not just a closet lesbian or something like that?" And I'm like, definitely not. No, I'm definitely romantically attracted to men.
Some of the things that you get asked are really, they're almost too personal, that in any other reasonable situation or circumstance you would never ask anybody. Does it all work? Are you broken? And then they ask you other questions, well, maybe you just haven't found the right person. Which is, you sort of think, actually, hang on a second, no, I have found the right person. Thanks very much for being so concerned about my well-being.
To be honest, I didn't know if I'd ever find anyone who, you know, I clicked with, and the statistics are pretty bleak when it comes to asexuality. So if 1% of the population is asexual, allegedly 30% of them are male. So I'm not very good at maths, but that's slim pickings. So yeah, the fact that I've met someone who I get on really well with, and he is also asexual, you know, that's amazing. I've pretty much won the lottery.
It sort of just occurred to me one day that this just doesn't appeal to me at all. So I was Googling the difference between asexuality and celibacy, because I'd heard the words but never knew what the difference was. Stumbled across Avon and, yeah, went from there. Personally, I'd say it's something that's fluid. And in terms of missing out, I think it's just a case of finding what it is that makes you happy. And if that's sex, then that's fine. And if that's not having sex, then that's obviously fine as well. You get a lot of, oh, you just haven't met the right person yet. And there's that little voice at the back of your mind that says, I'm 99.5% sure they're wrong, but what if they're not? Whereas now I have met somebody, and it's like, yay, it does make sense, it does fit, it is right. And it's been really good.
And you still don't want to have sex with me. Woohoo!
Because you were saying you were pansexual,
Yeah.
but like obviously you could also be panromantic. So you could be like a non-binary asexual.
So what's great,
Well, my understanding of it is that if you've got a kind of a spectrum between, say, sexual and asexual, then obviously if you're asexual you'll be on one side and you're sexual the other. But there's that bit in between, like the grey area. So sometimes you might feel a drive to be sexual, or maybe under certain kind of conditions, I guess, or like if you have a certain interest. It's that kind of grey area in between. You guys agree with that?
I'm really glad I met those guys like Sue, Thom and Steve. It's really weird because it's connected the dots for me. A lot of things that they was mentioning in there, it was like, oh my god, I've been through that, what the hell? And I feel less confused about it. Still confused, but less confused. Although I don't fully understand myself yet, and I don't think I'm there yet, it's been a huge step. I think I'll get there in the end. It's nice to know that I'm not alone anymore though.
Almost all of my friends do get to experience this fundamental piece of life, you know, and I just don't enjoy it. But again, it's like if you don't enjoy a certain type of food, I guess, you just don't enjoy it. There's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong with that. You've just got to, you know, come to terms with who you are. And yeah.
If sex without love can exist, then why can love without sex not exist as well? And if you can't get that, that's it's not that difficult to grasp. I've never really not got it. But there are still people out there that just don't seem to understand it.
At the end of the day, a label is only there to make you feel better, If that label fits you right now, then embrace it and use it, and if it doesn't later, then that's fine. It's up to you how you define yourself. What other people think is irrelevant.